What the heck?
No, please, no. Just one word.
Hey.
No.
Hey guys. Quiet.
Some excitement going on over there. Oh,
I know, I'm having a party.
I didn't get the invite. What the heck?
All right.
Did you send me an email?
Say again.
Did you send me an email?
I sent you your roster. The script should be about the same for one of the hearings because we just did it in P&Z.
Yeah, I got the script. I was looking for the roster, but I don't see it in my email.
Oh, it should be in your regular email, not your mayor email.
You always get in trouble.
And we are live and yeah, we're
Okay.
recording. So
Live and well.
yeah, we are.
Oh, yeah, I got it at 4:02. Thank you. I didn't look. Haven't looked since 4 o'clock. So.
There you go.
Okay, everybody's here. Looks like it. All right, let's get her underway. Today is March 24th, 2021. Time is 7:02 p.m. The meeting is called to order. First thing is Pledge of Allegiance. You got your flag, Mark?
I do.
All right. Pledge allegiance
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
to the
and
republic
to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible,
With liberty and justice for all.
Okay. All right, next up is roll call.
Who are you?
Trustee Bruce Miller,
Okay.
Roll call, Bruce.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem David Herbstman,
Here.
Trustee Brian Flax.
Yep.
Trustee Jerry Schwint,
Yes.
Trustee Mark Strickland,
Here.
Mayor Jeff Palmer,
Yes.
and Pat Musgrave is not here.
Okay, thank you.
And
Next up is approval of tonight's agenda.
Roll call.
You have to wait for a motion.
I'll
I
make a
make a
motion.
motion.
Oh, sorry, Jerry.
I'll make a motion to approve tonight's agenda.
Second.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded by David Herbstman. Roll call, please.
Trustee Bruce Miller,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem David Herbstman,
Yes.
Trustee Brian Flax,
Yes.
Trustee Jerry Schwint,
Yes.
Trustee Mark Strickland,
Yes.
Mayor Jeff Palmer.
Yes. Okay, tonight's agenda is approved. Okay, next item is the consent agenda, which includes the approval of Board of Trustees meeting minutes for February 24th, 2021, and also the approval of the bills.
Oh, what's wrong?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded. Mark made the motion, Brian made the second. We get roll call, please.
Trustee Bruce Miller,
Yes.
trustee Dave, or Mayor Pro Tem David Erpsman,
Yes.
trustee Brian Flax,
Yes.
trustee Jerry Schwint,
Yes.
trustee Mark Strickland,
Yes.
trustee Pat Musgrave is absent, Mayor Jeff Palmer.
Yes. All right, consent agenda is approved. Okay, next item on the agenda is reports. We'll start first with the town manager report.
Good evening, everyone. And I don't know if the mayor reported, but Pat had called and she's feeling a little bit under the weather today. So she called me this morning and said she wouldn't be in the, may not make the meeting tonight. First off, I wanted to give the board an update on the issue that happened out at the booster station over the weekend. I just talked with Bo, and really we're looking at this as kind of a blessing in disguise. We thought, as you saw from my original email over the weekend, we thought maybe we'd lost a leg of the 3-phase. But when Bo got out there and was trying to get things running again, the generator worked fine, but he still couldn't get the pumps going. So he called an electrician out. They started measuring voltages and found out that the what's called the motor saver was actually the problem. It had a contact that was stuck. So they had to jumper that and get to the pumps and bypass that basically. And that's the condition it's still in. So that was what the issue was. The lights on the control panel didn't tell us that we had a stuck contact. So he talked to the electrician and to the folks that helped us install that 25 plus years ago. And really the technology that's out there is 25 years old and outdated, and actually a CPU that's proprietary. And we have to have someone come in from the company, and the company has since split into 2 organizations, and reload the program and reboot it. We can't do it ourselves. So he's looking into how can we operate this by ourselves and have backup. And what he's looking at is new variable drives for the pumps and programmable logic controllers that would allow us to operate the pumps independently if we ever had an issue. And we can also hook it up to the SCADA system that's operating out at the RO and be able to control everything remotely as well. So he's getting a proposal to get that up and running, and we hope we'll have that sometime by the end of the week so we can evaluate it. So that allows us not only to have a backup way of operating if we have to, but brings us into the current electronic technology system. And it's a system that we can use even after we get the new water tank tower in place and new process, because there'll be a backup. So that I just want to give you an update that we're looking at that. We're also looking at both the RO and for the booster station of getting some sort of line conditioner so that we can help minimize any power surges we may have in the future. So I just wanted to pass that on and give you a kind of an update, and hopefully that helps answer any questions you might have about what happened over this past weekend.
Thanks, Tom.
So that's going to help us in the long term, because it's going to be a couple of years, even though I'm working on the water system with USDA right now, before we get that tank in place. So hopefully that'll minimize any further disruption. I'm not going to guarantee it, because we're at the mercy of power surges and things like that. But we're hoping to get things in place that we've got backups. We do have the third pump in for a backup at the booster station. Bo's working to get that wired in so that we'll have some good redundancy out at the booster station. And once we've got that, he wants to tear into the fire pump and get that operational. So we're going to be, I think, in better shape than we have been in the last couple of years. I did meet with I did meet over the phone with Excel today. He's going to get me some information from their capacity people and their engineers on what we're lacking in Wiggins and around Wiggins. I explained the situation that we've got several potential developments that seem to be impacted by Excel's, maybe you might call capacity issues that they've got in their high pressure line. So he's going to look into where those weak points are and what they can do and what we can do to help eliminate those. And also looking into the future of, since they are going to go away from gas at some point, you know, looking at what that will look like in the future as well. So we're more to come on that. And as soon as I get more information, I'll share it with the board, hopefully at the next work session. So, and I didn't have my meeting with USDA. She needed to cancel today. We're going to be meeting over the Zoom with Diamondback about the wastewater treatment facility tomorrow afternoon. So wanted to pass that on. And then also let the board know or remind you, if you want to attend the Morgan County Economic Development annual meeting, it's tomorrow. I originally had it at 11:30 today. I got an email saying 12:30 if you want to do it remotely, or if it, and it's 11:30 if you're going to actually attend it in person. But they do ask for RSVPs, so you might send a note if you haven't and are interested in attending that event this week.
I did send my RSVP. So.
Okay. And I'm going to join at least part of the annual meeting portion, but I do have a meeting at 2 since they moved it back. So, and then I've been talking with Roberts 81 and with Tim with Cobblestone. They're still in discussions and talking with investors. So that looks like it's moving forward. And I've also talked with Greg Elty from from DOLA and with Kristen, and we're looking at potentially putting in for 3 ready grants this year. So one for Roberts, a couple maybe for Roberts 81, one for a potential developer, the manufacturer I told you guys about last week, and then one for a business in town that wants to expand. And then looking at the potential of some assistance to Roberts 81 with the Excel gas line issue. So I'll be looking at that grant and be bringing it back for DOLA always wants approval from the board that they are okay with us going after that grant.
Tom, I got a quick question. You said that Excel's trying to go away from gas?
Yeah, Excel has got, as I mentioned, I believe last meeting, Excel is by 2035 trying to cut back their carbon emissions by, I believe it's 80%. And by 2050, getting away from carbon altogether. And that's part of their nationwide effort to cut down the carbon footprint. So eventually they're wanting to cut way back on natural gas use or any fossil fuels and go primarily electric. One of the things that the regional government affairs person I talked about today was, what is the cost of electric power and how does it compare for gas for like a home? Because I've mentioned that at least here, from what I've been told in Wiggins, is the REA is pretty pricey compared to gas. So we have to keep that in mind as they're making those changes. And we're in an oil-rich area of the state. I think they recognize that as well.
That was mainly just an Excel thing right now, right? I mean, I don't think other companies have committed to that extent.
Not to that extent, but folks like Tri-State, they're starting to go that direction as well. So, but I haven't heard about like Black Hills or any of the others yet. So
So are they expecting everybody to go from gas furnace to electric heating their house?
Yeah.
That is probably the long-term hopes of a lot of people. I can't tell you how long-term it is, because I did bring up, I use myself as an example. I've got 2 gas fireplaces. I've got a gas range. I've got a gas grill that's hooked up to natural gas. And I've got gas heat and gas hot water. And who's going to be footing the bill to change those all over to electric?
Yeah. Not gonna be me. And
So that's one of the issues, or one of those, I think, unintended consequences that hasn't fully been discussed yet, or at least I haven't heard that. So wanted to, that's one of the topics I asked him about in our conversation today. The last thing that I'm doing a little research on is the American Recovery Plan. It's been one of the bills that was recently signed by the president. I'm looking into what type of benefits we might gain from that, because there is a formula based on population of some money that towns should be receiving from that, with maybe less of a requirement and reporting requirement and use requirement than the CARES Act was. So I'm doing some research and getting some information on that, and we'll be sharing it with you as well.
all right.
Taking notes on the computer, so I emailed everything to
Is that
myself.
everything, Todd?
That's all that I've got, unless you've got some specific questions about things.
Anybody?
I guess I would just ask real quick, where are we at on getting the sewer line under the railroad replaced?
We've sent everything into Burlington Northern, I'm waiting on their final signature on the light or the permit. And then we can get things rolling with the engineer and we've got to coordinate with, I think the company's name is Wilson and Company. They're the scheduler for Burlington Northern, but I can't do that until I get the signed permit back from Burlington Northern. And I'd wager to say, I don't know what the time frame would be. I'm hoping it's in the next month or so.
I thought we already went through the permitting process.
We've got the permit. Now we're waiting for the signed document to come back that we signed and we sent them our check. And we've got the permit, but they have a requirement that until we get the signed paperwork, we can't start any of the work.
Oh, convenient.
Definitely worked out in their favor, I can tell you that.
Well, you know the old saying, there's railroads and then everything else.
Yeah, yep. Okay, anybody else got anything?
Thank you.
All right. Okay, before we go to the board reports, I'd like to hear from Chief Miller. See how things are going with the police department.
Well, things are going pretty well. Seems like I've been in a lot of meetings this month, in between weather planning and preparation meetings, the emergency planning committee meeting that took place with Morgan County. I participated in that. Participated in Tim's training, which is traffic incident management safety program for communities that are along I-76. We had the training with myself and the other officers last month, and then this month I participated in the regional meeting, which discussed a couple of incidents that happened in and around Wiggins at the off the highway there. Yeah, just lots of meetings, COVID meetings. Obviously, that's on a downswing, and so with everything going on, it's nice to hopefully get back to some face-to-face meetings here down the road. I've been able to attend a couple of face-to-face Northeast Colorado chiefs and sheriffs meetings and things like that, where we've been able to network and discuss regional issues. Nothing really new. We had the catalytic converter issue, but nothing came of that. There hasn't continued, and apparently Vail, Winter Park, still looking for the suspects that were involved in that. They seem to have disappeared off the radar, so we're not sure if they continued east into Nebraska and areas beyond, but we haven't heard hide nor hair of them for lately. So the abatements went well. We only had to issue 2 summonses, and so because of the snowstorm, the court date's going to be continued to May 17th. And both of those summonses, the people who received the summons said they are more than willing to work to rectify the situations that they're involved in. So it's good to know that the summonses are having the desired effect for those who didn't listen the first time we came through. We're going to do another wave of abatements here shortly as things warm up. So I just want to remind everybody on the board that if you have residential, commercial property in the area, be good examples and be ready for a talking to if necessary. We're seeing a big improvement, so I'm really impressed. I'm getting a lot of comments from townspeople about how things are looking better. They're noticing a big difference, and they're really appreciative of our effort. So,
All right. Yeah, appreciate it. Thank you.
absolutely. Any questions?
Oh.
Okay.
Stay safe out there too.
Definitely.
A few crazies running around.
That's that's why we're out there. Try to keep them at bay. It's not always easy to do, but we certainly try our best.
Hey, thanks, Chief.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thanks, Chief. Appreciate what you guys do for us.
Okay. I think with that being said too, we ought to just take a second and think about what happened in Boulder, with the people that lost their lives, the family, everything that they're going through, the police officer. So just hug your loved ones and stay safe. Respect what our police do. So, all
Thank you.
right. Next item is Board of Trustee reports. Anybody got anything? Okay. I did talk to Kristen from Morgan County. Done that on Tuesday. We just kind of discussed what Wiggins was interested in or relayed to her, what a lot of our work sessions, what we've talked about. And I also mentioned to her that I have a friend that was down in Arizona, and it's Scottsdale, and what they do is a food truck gathering. Like down there, they do it like once a week, but I was wondering if maybe bring it up to the board, if we could do like a food truck gathering once a month, or, through the summertime, kind of promote just our area food trucks. We could, get people from Fort Morgan, kind of get attraction to Wiggins, let people see what we offer, and we'd also support our local businesses as well. So I kind of wanted to bring that to the board and see what they thought of that.
Sounds tasty.
Does, doesn't it? It does.
I love the idea. Ultimately, though, even still with our population size, we want to lure people to Wiggins. It just makes me wonder, would we have to do something else than just the food trucks being there, whether it be some type of entertainment or something that would help lure them? I mean, I'm all for it. I'm a fan of food truck festivals and food truck events, so I'm all in. I just wonder.
Well, when I talked to her, she asked if we had any open area that we could supply this at, and we have the empty lot behind the water tower.
Right.
And I thought, we have the amphitheater right there as well. So she said, well, we could also have the food trucks and then do area talent, people that have their own bands or whatever want to get their name out there. So that was also suggested as well. So I don't know if
Very good. I like it.
so maybe something we can work on in the next work session or something. What do you think, Tom?
Let me talk to Kristen about it, and then also the health department, see how, that's going to shape out with the COVID restrictions, where they may be. But I'll talk to Kristen about it and then bring it back to you in a couple of weeks.
Okay. I appreciate it.
We'd also need to figure out how it's going to impact staff resources and how much Kristen could help from that as well. So
yeah, when I talked to her, she said she'd be more than happy to always be, if we planned it once a week, once a month, that she would be there, and thought maybe do some like business sponsorship and stuff like that. See if we get volunteers that way.
right.
There may also be, depending on how it's set, they may also be required to have a food truck license, as we do have an ordinance on that. There's some leeway when it comes to town planned events that they may not have to do that, but that would be something else that we would need to look into.
I know when I talked to Kristen, brought up the health department, she said a lot of them, with the health department, they prepare the food somewhere else, and then supply it to the food truck.
Yeah.
So she thought, well, if there was an area in Morgan with a lot of the food trucks for prep, it's just something that we probably just need to get worked out and figure out the fine details, but just wanted to bring it up and see what the board thought.
Be something different.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I think that's all I got.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll move down to financials, actual to budget.
Again, I think next month we'll start seeing the reports on the sales tax be reflective in there. So right now we're not seeing that reflected. If you'll recall, we're about a month behind, and the state is 2 to 3 months behind getting us sales tax numbers. We just got those recently, so they're not reported in the report yet, but let me see if I can get it to you. I'll tell you where we're standing. Cigarette tax, we've got a couple $100 that have been reported. Sales tax, we're at about 38,000 for that would have been January. And then we've got some minor amounts from CDOT and from the HUTF. But next month, we'll be able to have a little bit more information and give a comparison to where we were compared to last year. Deb, did you want to add anything?
No, was there any questions from anybody about anything on the financials or the bills? We have cut the bill for professional management, whatever, I can't think of the rest of the name. And I've started taking over the making sure everything is going to be entered prior to them balancing or reconciling the bank statement, so that it shouldn't take them very long to reconcile it. We're just working some kinks out. I've talked to Colorado.gov has not been balancing with the deposit, so they're trying to help me figure that out. They've sent it up their line to try and get that figured out so that we can do a better, easier way of getting things figured out for what has gone through the accounts and what was deposited in the banks and what they're showing us as the income. So we're getting that all worked together so we can figure out the bank statements better. And it was like $2,200, I think, that they were charging us for making those entries and reconciling the bank statement. So if I take it over, it should be a lot cheaper.
I did have a question on that line item for professional services. It's, if I'm reading it right, it's showing our year-to-date actual is over 17,000 and our budget for the whole year is only 15,000, and we're only 2 months in. Is there something I'm missing there? Or?
Most of that was for, we received her June 2020 bill after the first of the year for some reason. And then the December bill was her, when we went to do W-2s, the payroll was not correct in Casell, and we had to make a bunch of adjusting entries and get that figured out so that the W-2s that were sent out were correct. And that was mostly prior to, that was all stuff that was done prior to me, but she ended up doing it when we had to get the W-2s out. And so that's what made it really high. But most of those expenses were actually in from 2020, not from this year. So I think this year it was $4,000, I believe.
Trustee Flax and Deb, correct me if I'm wrong, but where we can, we should be able to reflect those into 2020, make that journal entry adjustment so that we're reflecting it in the correct year.
I thought we did, but I'll double check that and see. Well, a lot of it was she was actually working in she was doing that in January for stuff that was done in December or prior year. That's what I meant. So even though it was, she billed us in January and the work was done in January, it was actually for stuff that should have been January through December. Did you still want that in 2020? That's why I didn't go into 2020, was because
We,
it was current bill.
Trust-
Her bill was from,
trustee,
well, the June bill was back then, but
we'll take a look at that and make sure it's correct and report back to you, Trustee Flax. We can't
Okay.
solve it tonight.
No, that's fine. I just only
But
being
thank you
2
for
months
bringing
ahead.
it up, bringing it to our attention.
Yeah, thanks, Brian.
Yep.
Okay, anybody else have any questions on the financials? All right. Okay, we'll move on. Item 4 is public comments. Anybody signed up or online? Okay.
I don't see anybody on right now.
Okay. Well, I'll still open it just for the fun of it. I like to read, you know. Board of Trustees welcomes you and thanks you for your time. If you wish to address the Board of Trustees about a specific concern or to comment on an item, this is the only time set on the agenda for you to do so. We ask you to be respectful and courteous when addressing the board. When you're recognized, state your name and address. Your comments will be limited to 3 minutes. The board may not respond to your comments this evening. Rather, they may take your comments and suggestions under advisement and provide direction to the appropriate member of town staff for follow-up. So, nobody's here, so we will close the public comment portion. Okay. Next item is a public hearing for adoption by reference to 2020 edition of the Model Traffic Code for Colorado. Consideration of Ordinance 06/2021, second reading, adopting by reference the 2020 edition of the Model Traffic Code for Colorado for the regulation of traffic in the town of Wiggins, Colorado. Part 2 is Model Traffic Code. It has a table of contents, and 3 is the ordinance number 06/2021. So before we can go into the public hearing, we need a motion. We need a motion for that one.
No, you can just
Okay.
open the public hearing.
All right. I will now open the public hearing on ordinance 06/2021, adopting by reference the 2020 edition of the Model Traffic Code for Colorado. This is the second reading and public hearing. Deb, for the record, please state whether this hearing has been properly noticed.
the hearing has been properly noticed.
Thank you. Is there a staff presentation on this matter?
I can cover a little bit of it. This will be the second reading of the ordinance that you approved at last month's meeting, and we've been through the model traffic code and some of the changes. Officer Doug Erickson did that in January, and so this is just the formal adoption and the chance for the public to weigh in on any of the changes that we're proposing. There was a list of some of the differences between the 2020 code and the code that was adopted in 2019. And a lot of it allows Wiggins police to write more of the tickets into municipal court instead of all going to county court. So it's really bringing us up to date with the traffic codes and the violations and the fines. I'll let Chief Miller add any more thoughts. I don't think Officer Erickson was able to make the meeting tonight.
Yeah, as Tom says, it just updates the when we adopted it in 2019, that update was actually, that was adopted was, I believe, 15 years old at the time. And there have been several revisions since then. So it's just bringing our codes into compliance with state and bringing them up to date.
So what would be a good example now, Chief, that if you wrote a ticket would go to county court, but with the changes would stay here in Wiggins?
I didn't look at the 2004 2004 traffic code to compare, so I wouldn't know without comparing the two. I just know that the updates that have occurred since 2004 have basically gotten rid of some codes that are no longer recognized by the state and added codes such as, since 2004, we've added the graduated driver's license laws, we've added texting laws. And so those laws would be examples of something we could now write into municipal court off the top of my head, but comparing them side to side, I haven't done that.
Okay. I see a lot of that while I'm driving on the interstate, people going by me just
Yep.
not looking anywhere near the road. They're
Yep, exactly.
kind of scary, actually. Okay. All right. Well, we'll open the public comment portion of the public hearing. For those wishing to speak, please clearly state your name and address for the record. We will allow people who signed the roster to speak at the podium for up to 3 minutes each. Please do not repeat points made by others. It is fine to get up and say, I agree with Mr. Smith's comments. Please direct your comments to the board, not the applicant or town staff. Has anyone signed up to speak? Anybody on? Okay.
Everyone.
All right. Well, with no one here, we will close the public comment portion of the public hearing. We will now proceed to board discussion. Are there any questions from the board members or any discussion of the board? Okay. No questions. We have a draft ordinance in front of us, and I would entertain a motion.
I'd like to make a motion to approve ordinance number 06-2021, an ordinance adopting the 2020 edition of the Model Traffic Code for Colorado for the regulation of traffic in the town of Wiggins, Colorado.
I'll second it.
Okay, motion's been made by Mark, seconded by Jerry. Could we get a roll call, please?
Trustee Bruce Miller,
Yes.
Trustee Mayor Pro Tem David Herbsman,
Yes.
Trustee Brian Flax,
Yes.
Trustee Jerry Schwint,
Yes.
Trustee Mark Strickland,
Yes.
Trustee Pat Musgrave is not here. Mayor Jeff Palmer.
Yes. All right, motion carries. Okay. Find my notes. Okay, we'll move down to the next public hearing, which is review and recommendation of a special use review application submitted by Trustee Cobley for the purpose of a home occupation at 1108 Osprey Way. Consideration of resolution number 11-2021, a resolution approving a special review use application for a home occupation located at 1108 Osprey Way, Wiggins, Colorado. Okay.
This is supposed to be the guy from last time.
Find my
We couldn't get in. This is supposed to be. Oh, no, there it is.
find my right notes here. Bear with me. So we open the public hearing for review and recommendation of a special use review application submitted by Trustee Cobley for the purpose of a home occupation at 1108 Osprey Way. Deb, for the record, do we have state whether the hearing has been properly noticed?
Yes.
Okay. Got the wrong script for that one. 1 second, I got it up here. Okay, sorry. Okay. All right, I got the one for the model traffic code. One second. Bear with me. I lost that one.
You want me to?
Well, I'll just read it off of, I'll just read the one for the model traffic code because we need to hear from Trista on this one.
Yeah, she's on.
Does she have just,
Yeah.
you there, Trista?
Trista, if you're there, you can turn your video on and you can unmute yourself. There she goes.
Hi, sorry,
Hi, Trista.
I'm trying to get everything figured out there.
Okay. I'm gonna kind of wing this because I don't have my other script. So
Mayor, I just forwarded you the script again, if you look at your email.
okay. Come on. Get it off. Here. Okay. Guess Gmail wanted to be open. Okay. Got it. Thanks, Tom. Okay, purpose of this hearing is to provide a public forum for for all interested parties who wish to comment on an application before the Board of Trustees. Please let us know if you wish to speak during this electronic public meeting. You may either raise your hand or let us know by speaking through your microphone. The procedure for the public hearing will be as follows. First, there will be a presentation by the town staff. Next, we'll have a presentation by the applicant. After this presentation, we will allow people who wish to speak for up to 3 minutes each. Please do not repeat points made by others. It is fine to get up and say, I agree with Mr. Smith's comments. Please direct your comments to the Board of Trustees, not the applicant or town staff. After receiving public comments, we allow the applicant an opportunity to respond. Next, board members may ask questions of anyone who testified. I will then close the public hearing and no further testimony or other evidence will be received. The Board of Trustees will discuss the matter and may take some kind of action. Public hearings are recorded for the public record. All testimony must be presented after you give your full name and address. Do we have proper notification?
Yes.
Okay. Do any board members have any disclosures?
Nope.
Seeing none. Hope, please introduce the applicant and provide the report, your report.
Good evening. So tonight the applicant is Trista Cobley. She is a resident in Kiowa Park at 1108 Osprey Way. And the application before you is for a home occupation. Our current land development code allows home occupations of most sorts with the as long as they go through a special review The planning and zoning commissioners have already reviewed this applicant and have determined that it is suitable for recommendation to the Board of Trustees. It was a unanimous vote to be coming before you. Trisha's home occupation is basically baking. So for anybody that's going to get hungry after this, feel free to go to her house after the meeting. I'm sure she'll have some good. Anyway, it's basically going to be on a small scale. So there's not going to be a lot of deliveries, to her house. There's certainly not going to be a lot of pickups. It's just kind of something she's doing on the side. And this is just something that we're having to do just to kind of keep it clean and legal. So.
Okay. All right, thanks, Hope. Will the applicant or applicant's representative come to the podium, present your application?
Yeah, so like Hope was saying, it's just I'm just wanting to sell like baked goods for my home, and I have to abide by like the Colorado cottage food laws. So I'm based off of them, and I'm not subject to any licensing or anything like that from the health department since I follow the cottage food guidelines. So yeah, just basically special orders is what I'm doing or want to do. And that's pretty much it.
Thank you.
Any questions?
Anybody have any questions for her or the town?
Yeah, are you gonna have a website available for people in the town to be able to get to and see what you do?
Yeah. Yeah, I have a Facebook page right now. But I do want to work on getting a website going. So
Very good.
What's the name of the Facebook page?
it's Soaring Eagle Suite.
Okay. All right. Anybody else have any questions? Okay. I will now open the public comment portion of the public hearing. For those wishing to speak, please clearly state your name and address for the record. Did anyone want to speak?
No one's on.
Okay. All right. If there is no public comment, I will close the public comment portion of the public hearing. Okay. Before we turn to board questions and deliberations, I want to state that the documents included within the record for this public hearing include all application materials submitted by the applicant, all materials included in the board packets, presentations given tonight, all written referral and public comments received regarding the application, and the town's land development code. Does anyone have any objection to inclusion of these items for the record? Okay. I will now close the public hearing and the board members will deliberate on the evidence presented. During deliberations, board members may ask questions of town staff, but no further public comment or other testimony may be received. Who would like to begin? Anybody? All right. So if nobody wants to deliberate, no questions, we have a motion or a resolution. I would entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to adopt resolution 11-2021. Resolution approving a special review use application for a home occupation within a residence located at 1108 Osceola Way, Wiggins, Colorado.
Second.
Motion been made by Jerry and seconded by David. We get roll call, please.
Trustee Bruce Miller,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem David Herbstman,
Yes.
Trustee Brian Flax,
Yes.
Trustee Jerry Schwint,
Yes.
trustee Mark Strickland,
Yes.
trustee Pat Musgrave is not here, Mayor Jeff Palmer.
Yes. Okay, motion carries. Congratulations, Trista.
Thank you, guys.
Yes,
Congratulations.
Best of luck.
Can't
Yeah,
wait.
good luck.
Hey, Trista, do you also do like cake decorating, like people wanting birthday cakes and stuff like that?
I haven't done many cakes. I do cupcakes or I mainly do French macarons.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
It's,
I think you're gonna get some orders, Trista.
Cat's out of the bag.
We'll be
For the
in
next board
contact
meeting.
soon, please. Thank you.
Yep, thank you very much.
Oh, and
Congratulations.
I'll be in touch with you tomorrow.
Sounds good.
Thank you, Trista.
Okay, thank you. Bye.
Have a good night. Okay, next item on the agenda is liquor license authority, consideration of liquor license renewal application for Wiggins Supers.
I'll let Deb take this one.
So Wiggins Supers is up for renewal for their liquor license. I checked with the police department and they have had no issues with selling liquor or people trying to buy it illegally or anything. So they've been accepted by we're ready to send it on to the state government if you guys approve today.
Okay. Anybody else have any questions or anything in regards to the liquor license?
Right down here. That's a really
Got quiet all of a sudden.
Yeah, just waiting for a motion, see if anybody wants to make that one.
I'll make a motion for consideration of liquor license renewal application for Wiggins Supers.
Thanks, Mark.
I'll second that.
Okay, motion's been made by Mark, seconded by Jerry. We get roll call, please.
Trustee Bruce Miller,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem David Herbstman,
You're muted, David.
You're muted, David.
I just apparently I just wanted to keep the waiting going here.
You
Yeah.
do a mime. You do it as a
Yeah,
mime.
Yes.
said yes. Trustee Brian Flax,
Yes.
trustee Jerry Schwint,
Yes.
trustee Mark Strickland,
Yes.
trustee Pat Musgrave is not here, Mayor Jeff Palmer.
Yes. Okay, motion carries. Okay. Next item on the agenda is executive session. The executive session to discuss the purchase, acquisition, lease, transfer, or sale of real, personal, or other property interest under CRS section 24-6-402, 4A, regarding potential sale and transfer trade of town-owned land. This will take a motion to go into.
I'll make a motion that we go into executive session.
I'll second.
Okay, motion been made by Mark, seconded by Bruce. We get roll call, please.
Trustee Bruce Miller,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem David Erbsman,
Yes.
Trustee Brian Flax,
Yes.
Trustee Jerry Schwint,
Yes.
Trustee Mark Strickland,
Yes.
Trustee Pat Musgrave is not here. Mayor Jeff Palmer.
Yes. Okay. All right, thank you.
Do we shut off or what do we do?
So,
Mayor and trustees, could we close out of this Zoom meeting and go into the exec session? You should have a another email from IT Wiggins. That way we can keep these meetings separate.
okay.
Okay.
Yeah, we can do that. You want me to adjourn this meeting now, Tom, and then we'll open, or leave it open and then adjourn on the executive?
Leave it open and then we'll adjourn at the end of exec session.
Okay. All right.
We're trying to figure out how to have breakout rooms to where we don't have to do this, but we ran into a snag trying to make that happen. So we don't have that figured out yet.
You can't record within a breakout room, as far as I know with Zoom.
Yeah.
You can record the main room, but the breakouts you can't record. Just knowing that
Right.
from work experience.
So we're trying to figure a way out of how to do that seamlessly.
Oh,
Why don't we take we convene at 8:10 on the executive?
That would be perfect.
okay.
Okay.
Thank
See
you,
y'all
Deb.
later.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
So up here, you can hit stop and it'll ask you again, do you really